anyone who has saved a substantial amount of money will want to invest it at any particular point in time. We all want to be able to help our families and our relatives without having to depend on just one source of revenue. And that's why a lot of people are going to jump into the investment race without having developed a strategy that will serve as a roadmap along the race. We all know at least one person in our surroundings who had, at a particular point in time, made a substantial amount of profit, for example, in the stock exchange market, but who didn't know how to reinvest that amount of money in other businesses in different sectors in order to make more money while reducing the risk. In this video, I'll be giving you a strategy that will show you how to multiply your revenue by 10 in a record time frame. Well, get yourself a comfortable couch and concentrate, because this strategy consists of 3 points, and the third point is the one no one talks about. And in fine, I'll give you a bonus that will either wake you up or stop you from sleeping. Stay tuned. Hello, my name is Arno, investor and serial entrepreneur in Germany and in Europe. Welcome to my channel, Wine Investor. Here we talk about investments and entrepreneurship in the wine industry and other industries as well, while giving you methods and strategies that will help you achieve tremendous success in any business field. So like the video, share it in your surroundings so that a maximum amount of people can have access to my videos and benefit from my content just as you do. Subscribe and most importantly, activate the notification clock so as to always be in premiere on all our videos. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you a great strategy that will help you multiply your revenue by 10 in a record time frame. So let's start right away, okay? The first point, when we talk about multiplying revenue, we're talking about creating wealth. Creating wealth consists in multiplying something you already have, okay? So you need to have something. You can't multiply zero, right? Okay, so you need to get a job, okay? Get a job. Let me write it in capital letters so that you really keep that in mind. Get a job. Okay? Get a job. Well, a lot of people out here had the great opportunity to go to big schools with a lot of potential, and they had the possibility also to have very great people as classmates. They are very well trained. They have the capabilities, and this training they had gives them the opportunity to have a job maybe where they can earn, from which they can earn maybe 4,000 euros a month. Okay, let me just give an example. Well, the thing is, you will not, most people will not get that job as soon as they finish school, right? So you need to make sure that in the time you're looking for that job, you need to have something that occupies you first, something that will help you cover your charges, because you're living at cost, so you need to cover your charges in order to remain at least at the base zero level. Okay, you don't go into debts, all right, because you are looking for a job. No, you are looking for a job, but meanwhile, get something. Go out there, work at McDonald's, go and distribute newsletters every morning, at people's doorsteps. Do that, okay? There are a lot of people in Africa who will say, yeah, we really don't find the jobs we want to do. Yes, because you come out from very good schools, because you're a chartered accountant or whatever, you think when you get down there, you will definitely go and work in a big structure, in a big company, and, get a job where you can apply what you've learned. It's very important, but it's not easy to get. So in the meanwhile, while looking for that job, do something. Get something that gives you money, okay? So, because if you are living at expenses that you cannot cover, that no salary can cover, you will definitely get into debt. And by the time you work, or you're working, or you definitely find that job that pays you 4,000 euros, you will still need some time to get out from that negative level and reach at least the level zero and start applying this strategy. But we want to increase money, we want to multiply money in a short amount of time. So you need to avoid anything that will get you at the negative level. Okay, you need to always be either at the zero level or above. Okay, very important. Well, a lot of people have been talking about this, in many, a lot of YouTube channels and in many courses, even at the universities. When you study finance, they will tell you that. The reason why I brought this point here is that in the next videos, not the next one, but in some other videos to come, I will talk about how important the financial situation of the employer is. Okay, because in this strategy, you're going to learn that you have a job, you get a salary, you need to save, create enterprises, and reach a point where you're independent. You're not more working for somebody. But it's something that would take some time. You won't achieve that in 1 or 2 years or 3 years. Sometimes it might even take 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. Okay, so it means that this great plan that you have to become someone who is independent definitely depends on your employer, because your plan is based on the salary you earn from your employer. Okay, so if your employer is not in a very good financial situation, as soon as he will have the opportunity to reduce his effective, he's going to sack you. Okay, so you have to make sure it's your job to make sure that you are employed by someone on whom you can count. Okay, very important. So the second point, however, you have a job, you need to save. Okay, you need to save and invest. Okay, let me take the example of someone who earns 2,000 euros a month. Okay, it could be dollars. I know some people will be saying, yeah, you're talking about euros or whatever. It could be dollars. Okay, and this guy saves, let me say he saves 50% of his salary, so 1,000 euros every month. Okay, well, you need to know that if you want to be independent in life, what is important is not the amount of money you earn. Okay, it's the amount of money you can save. Because there's no difference between you earning 4,000 euros and saving 1,000 euros every month, and someone who earns 2,000 and who is capable of saving 1,000 euros from it every month. Actually, this guy is even better, because the more the salary increases, the more he's going to be able to save per month. Okay, so he's going to reach that level of independency faster than you, and if he's very smart. Okay, and he's actually even very smarter than you, because he can save more money than you, who earns double the money he earns. Okay, all right. Well, what people do is that when they save the very first month, they will save 1,000 euros, they will get to the stock market. They will rush to the stock market because they have some friends who have invested in the stock market, in Tesla and Apple, and everybody's talking about it. So I'll take my 1,000 euro, I'll just go there, put it there, and walk around and say, yeah, I have shares at Apple, I have shares at Tesla. Well, to make money, you need to be wise. You need to know what you do. Nobody makes money in a field he doesn't master. So you need to take time, to train yourself. Okay? So the first step here, by savings, is to first of all, save a substantial amount of money. Meanwhile, you're training yourself at a particular topic, in a particular field. Okay? So after having saved a certain substantial amount of money, actually in life you keep on saving, but you reach a point in time where you have a substantial amount of money where you can start, because we want to invest as fast as possible and have returns of investment, so to multiply our money more and more. Well, then we get to the next part, investment. People talk about investment as something that you that has maybe two possibilities. So you can either invest in real estate, you can either invest in the stock market, you can either invest in the creation of companies. I don't think so. I think investment, it's an entity that comprises of all these parts, and they have to work together to create an ecosystem that will definitely multiply your money as fast as possible. So I will talk about an investment here consisting of, creation of enterprises, and we just make sure here. Let me just say capital investments, right? In general. Okay, so capital investment is going to be more of passive investment. So you take a certain amount of money you've saved and invest into something or into a market or into something that will take value over time. Okay, and then bring you some return on investment, but it takes time. For example, if you invest in the stock market, we definitely talk here about stock market. Okay, generally. Then you have real estate, and then you have fine art. Okay. Well, everybody knows about the stock market, everybody knows about real estate, but this part is something very, very few people know about. Okay, and we're going to talk about this because this is where I invest most of my money in terms of capital investments. Okay, I've invested in stock market, I've invested in real estate, but this is where things happen. Okay, well, the second part consists in the creation of companies. You can either create products or services, right? Okay, most people will start with services because it's easier. You are not stocking your capital, a huge amount of capital at the beginning. Okay, let me take an example. Amazon, for example, provides services. Today, Amazon sells Kindle or Alexa or whatever, but the most amount of money, the money Amazon makes every year, most of it comes from the provision of services. Amazon provides a platform that permits suppliers and buyers to meet very, very fast. Okay, so what I want you to know is that if you are capable of investing, doing capital investments with the hope of getting a return of investment in 5 years, in 6 years, in 7 years, because that's what you have here. Okay, in real estate, you're more looking at something, in a mid-term, long-term horizon, right? If you're capable of doing this, then you should be capable of creating, of investing your money into something that is capable of giving you returns of investment in 1 to 3 months' time. Create a company, because if you sell good products, you can start selling. You can start, breaking even 3 months, 4 months after having placed your product on the market. If you were capable of, analyzing a particular market segment and providing solutions at very interesting, interesting conditions. Very important. People always, neglect this fact. So what people do, most people do, let me take this very same guy, Mr. X, who is capable of, saving 1,000 euros every month. What he will do, he will save 1,000 euros over 8 months. Okay, after 8 months, for example, in Germany, he has 8,000 euros. So he's going to invest in real estate. He will buy an apartment somewhere between 80,000, 90,000 euros. So he will bring like 10%, capital, and then finance the whole thing. But he needs 8 months to reach this level. Okay, after 8 months, after having invested in real estate, he's going to get over again, start from zero, save maybe 5,000 euros. Invest in the stock market, and goes again, invest 8,000 euros after 8 months. Attack, the real estate, because people always say, yeah, when you start working, you have no kids, even if you're married, you have no children, you have no debt, so the bank is a very good partner. Go as fast as possible and invest in the real estate. Well, that's what people do. Well, I'm not really a fan of this strategy because every time you keep starting from zero, and you're going to see, we're going to talk about that just in a moment. It has a great disadvantage. I don't want to criticize people who have invested with this strategy. If you have made tens and tens of thousands of euros in 10 years, for example, or in 10 years, for example, let me just take that as an example. Let me tell you that with the strategy I'm about to present to you right now, you're going to make 10 times that amount of money in the same amount of time. Okay? So what I would propose to you instead, you can start also by investing in your real estate. Okay, there are many possibilities, but let's say, okay, you invest in the real estate, because people will say, okay, real estate is a kind of, pretty sure, way to invest, especially considering the fact that you don't need to have a PhD in real estate in order to perform well, in that sector. There are a lot of people who provide courses on real estate. I'll be looking further to do that in some time to come. But now, I first of all want you to understand the strategy. This is most important. There are a lot of people who provide training, about this. So we will talk about that next time. Well, I would really, force someone to start with real estate. Like I said, you can start on the stock market. You can start with fine art. I started with fine art, and later I got into the stock market and real estate. And we're coming to this later. But the second step, what you see is that after 8 months, he's invested in real estate, but he's starting from zero. So what he does with the same 5,000, not the same 5,000, just to remain as close as possible to the first strategy, he's not going to invest in the stock market. He's going to invest on the second run. He's going to create an enterprise. Well, note that if you take a course on real estate for beginners, you need maybe a 1 or 2 days course. Then after, maybe you need to run around, go and visit some apartments that you could potentially buy. It will take you around 1 month, for you to get, to know what it's all about for the start, to invest in real estate. So by the time you're saving 8,000 euros, you're saving that over 8 months time, all right? So you mean you have 7 months here where you have nothing to do. You can invest this time in analyzing a particular market where okay, there's a potential, you identify a potential, you study how you can bring in more value in that market, create a company, sell your products and services. Okay, so that's what he's going to do here. So we will need maybe 7 months to study that market. Then after 5 months, when he's starting from fresh to save the 5,000 euros, he's thinking about how to place the company, how to structure his own company and everything. And he creates a company where he supplies services. Then this company is going to bring a profit of about 1,000 euros. Okay? This is possible. I'm not talking about just example. This is possible. Success is very close to the information you have. If you have good information, you're going to succeed. Okay? If you don't have the information, you will definitely fail. Okay, all right? So you need to know that there are businesses that can produce 1,000 euros a month if you're good at it. All right? You could be investing in Amazon, selling products on Amazon or whatever. All right? So you create an enterprise. Right? You're selling your products and you're making 1,000 euros profit a month. So what now happens is that you've created a second source of revenue. So you're no more relying on this source of revenue, so you need to relax, you need to relax the load, on this, reduce the load on this first source of revenue. But I'm not asking you to reduce that load so as to live like a king. So you now, start buying shoes, expensive shoes every month, we will come to that, but we are still very far from that point. What you need here to do is to create wealth, right? So what you will do here, you keep on saving your 1,000 euros, but you're saving 500 euros. Okay? So the first 500 euros you're going to add to this 1,000 euros, right? So you're adding it here, so that now you are capable of saving 1,500 euros every month. All right, which means that the same investment you were doing here, after every 8 months, you can do it after 5 months. Okay, so instead of waiting for 8 months to start, to do a substantial investment in the real estate sector, you need 5 months with this strategy. I think now you're understanding the very first important point in my strategy. You need to reduce the amount of time money lies there without doing anything. Because we are living in a world where we had, in the last 10 years, especially Europe, 2.6% inflation, right? Inflation rate. To make a very simple calculation, let's just assume 2% inflation rate. If you take this very example from this guy who started investing, saving 1,000 euros every month, so the first month he will save 1,000 euros. That the 1,000 euros will stay 8 months without doing anything. Second month he will save 1,000 euros. The 1,000 euros will remain 7 months without doing anything, and so on and so forth. So if you accumulate that and you take into consideration this 2% inflation rate I was talking about, you see that at the end of the 8 months he's still going to have 8,000, but these 8,000 euros, they don't have the same value as the 8,000 euros 8 months ago. He has 8,000 euros in the hand, and this money has a value of 7,940 euros. He's lost 6 euros in 8 months' time. Well, it's might be small, but you have to know that the more you have money incoming, the more it's important, to rapidly invest that money, because you're losing money over time. Okay, that's one very important point. So if you stay in this, conventional strategy that, okay, you save money after 8 months, you invest. You start from zero. You save money after 8 months, you invest. I think you're wasting not only time, you're wasting also money. So what you will do here, like I said, every month now he's investing 500 euros. So his money is no more sleeping. Every month, 500 euros is injected here, and together with the money, the profit he makes from his company, he will now invest in the capital investment sector. You can buy stocks, you can buy real estate, invest in fine art, and so on and so forth. The other 500 euros will come here. You invest in your company, because you started very small. You started with a capital of 5,000 euros. So if you say you for example, you produce a product, okay, you're buying raw materials or whatever, okay, to produce that product, to manufacture the product. So at the beginning, with 5,000 euros start capital, you will not be buying, raw materials like a pro, okay? You'll be buying raw materials certainly at high costs. So you need to reduce that cost so as to increase your profit for the same amount of products you're selling, okay? So you're going to invest your money every month here to increase your, to increase the efficiency of your business. All right, very important. So you see that money is working and working and working. And we have just created here a machine, where we have money coming from somewhere and it's invested into something that produces more money, and together with the first source of income, it permits you to do greater investments in a short amount of time. But this is just, with this strategy, you're multiplying money by 2, by 3, it's okay. I mean, it's interesting, but you can do more than that, okay? Because actually, we've created this machine, but machines always have this efficiency problem. Let me take, for example, a bulb, okay? We'll tell you this bulb consumes 100 watts of electricity, but the amount of light that this bulb emits, when measured, is about 80 watts. So the bulb is losing energy as heat, 20 watts. And this is what smart investors don't want. This is what you don't want as a smart investor, okay? You don't want this as a smart entrepreneur. So you need to create a system where you have almost no losses, where you can turn these losses back into input, so that you create a machine that is working almost on its own and it keeps on accelerating every time and every time. That's what we're talking about in the third strategy. All right, because this third strategy will permit you to multiply your revenue by 10. Like I said here, we're about by 3, by 4. You need to get this, to this point to multiply your money by 10. But before then, let's talk about fine art. Most of us coming from India, from Africa, we have, I would say, if we're living in Australia or in the United States or in Europe, we have a little problem, because we're coming from a place where we are rich in cultures. We have cultural values, a lot of them. We should keep them. But we are living in a place where people attach values to certain things, and we call that fine art. Okay? We call it fine art. And the good thing about this segment is that it's, restraint for people who have a lot of money. Okay? Who really have money in terms of millions and billions of dollars. All right? And if you know the system, you study the system very well, and you understand it, you're going to make crazy money in a short amount of time that you can never imagine. All right. I started with fine wine. Even right from the time I was still a student, I learned about wine. It's not just a matter of drinking; it's a matter of understanding. So I came to a point where I identified a market where a fine wine coming out from a winery, well-renowned wineries, maybe €1,000 could be sold back after 3-4 years at €2,000, €2,500 if you knew the system. Okay. So that's why I trained myself very well in this domain. I invested €10,000 soon after I finished my studies, and after 4.5 years, I had €17,500 without doing anything. Net profit. Okay? Net profit. No taxes. Net profit. €17,500. Well, if you are investing in real estate with the aim of buying apartments and renting them, you will never get this. You will never get 175% profit in 4 years' time. You can buy real estate, renovate, refurbish, sell back. You can do this. You can have this. But by investing in fine art, you are making this amount of return on investment in 4.5 years and even more. Some people have done twice as much in 3 years' time. Okay? What you have to know is that these are things that are, like I said, it's for people who have money. And the rich people, if you know the pyramid of Maslow, there are certain needs that we call physiological needs. For example, every day you need to drink a bottle of water. Your body needs it. You need to have clothes, for example, in the cold period, or when it's so hot, you need to have certain types of clothes that are, adapted to the kind of climate in which you live. You need to have shoes to be able to walk normally on the road without having to wound your feet. Okay, but there are certain needs that are above that. Certain needs that are aimed, to feed the spirit. You need to feel good, to feel well. That's why people will be buying things just to feel good. Okay, and that's what the rich people do. Once you understand that, you can understand that somebody can buy a bottle of wine for €3,000, for 4, 5, 10,000 euros. Why? Simply because he wants that wine. The wine is rare on the market. If they say it's 10,000 euros, he buys it because he wants to have that wine. Not because, the wine is cheap or whatever. No, he wants that wine. And if it's 10, 15,000 euros, he buys it. Why? Because he's a millionaire, because he's a billionaire in dollars. That's what we're talking about. Okay? Very important point. There are some people, most of us here, we have IKEA tableaus here on our wall, but there are people, fortunate people, if you tell them you're buying a tableau for $10,000, for $1 million, for $2 million, they'll buy it because they want to have it. If it's rare and they say it's 2 million euros, they want to have it, they'll buy it because they want it. They want to feel good by buying it. Okay, so they have money to spend. And if you really know how to invest money here, you're really going to make good money. Well, that's something interesting. And if you've understood this, you're definitely going to understand the third point, because it's not just about making money here. It's also about seeing how you can combine all your assets and create an entity that simply multiplies money by magic. Okay? And we're going to see that in the third point. So far we have seen it, right? Okay, you need to get a job, you need to save, you need to invest, and you start by, you can start, for example, by buying or investing in the real estate. You can invest in the stock market, but most importantly, you need to create a company, because the company can easily, or enterprise can easily give you a profit in 3, 4, 5 months time that you can invest in the capital investment domain that will give you return on investment maybe in 4, 5, 6 years. Okay, so you cannot just take your whole income, the first and only source of revenue that you have, and use it to invest in things that are going to give you profit in 5, 6 years to come. That's not the way it functions. It will take you time and time to reach a point where you have money, but you have a limited life expectation. Okay, so you need to make sure that in the short amount of time that you have, you make as much money as you can. All right, and we said you invest also in fine arts, and I did that. I invested 10,000 euros and I had 175% net profit after 4.5 years. But it's not just about investing in finance and investing in real estate, creating companies. Most importantly, it's about doing investment. And like I said, investments is creating an entity with different, assets that work together and just multiply money by magic. And I will show you how that magic functions. All right. So I call this third step the fusion. Right? The fusion. You bring things together. Okay. Well, imagine that you have one company, or you create a second enterprise. Then you have, in the capital investment sector, you have maybe real estate or two real estates, 2-3 apartments that are working, maybe you're renting them, or I don't know, you have an investment on the stock exchange market, you have investments in the fine art, working for you. Well, you have to bring the third step consistently in bringing all these together so that they work together and generate more and more and more money. What do I mean by this? I will take here a very clear example, and it's a real example. Somebody I know. I will call her Miss Ayan, right? We'll call her Miss Ayan. Miss Ayan bought a garage, almost 10 to 12 square meter big. It's a garage that she bought for 15,000 euros. Okay? So she lives in an apartment, she's renting the apartment, and the apartment is coupled with a garage, separate garage. She has her own electric door that she can, open and close remotely. And one day, the owner of the apartment comes to her and tells her, you know what, I have separated the apartment from the garage, and I will sell the garage. So I've seen a lot of people who are interested in buying, and I just want to inform you that you might have very soon a new proprietor. Okay, and she didn't really want that, so she bought the apartment for 15,000 euros. Okay, and she bought it cash. Here the banks will all, especially in real estate, banks will always want to accompany you when you have, when you take, credit for 80, 100, 150,000 and more euros, because you need to pay that over a long period of time. That's how they make money, right? So the bank will not be interested in financing something 15,000 euros, but it's not a problem. This is not an amount of money that you definitely need, hell and heaven together to make. Okay, so you can easily make this amount of money. So she invested. She said no, she wants to buy the garage. Why? Simply because you will understand it. She had a lot of stuffs that she had in the garage and never wanted potential buyers, when they come to visit the garage, to see what is inside. And secondly, she knew that once she gets a new proprietor, he will definitely come and say, okay, I need to do some paintings here, do some small repairs, and increase the rent. So she said, I will buy that. And Miss Ayan actually, till then, she was had a small business, selling, what these women like, makeups, lipsticks, things that help clean nails and all that. So, and everything was going well, and it reached a point where she had made a good amount of money, and she was looking on how to, get bigger, work now with big companies. And she needed definitely to register an enterprise. So she registered her enterprise, and that is where things started. And as she registered her enterprise, she integrated the garage as part of the capital of the enterprise, as part of the factors of production of the enterprise. All right. So to explain that much more better, let's talk about the balance sheet of a company. Well, it's something that for a small enterprise, very small enterprise, you might not need to know, but it's very important for you to master that as soon as you start, enterprising, as soon as you start investing in companies. Very, very important, because the more your company gets bigger and bigger, the more this becomes important. We call that the balance sheet, right? The balance sheet of a company. The balance sheet of an enterprise. I will just make it here very, very brief. Okay, I know the chartered accountants, I don't know, from London or whatever, are going to look me like crazy, but I just want to explain this as fast as possible. You have the active part, okay? The active part and the passive part of a balance sheet. All right? And on the passive part, you have the capital. You know, you have the owner's equity or capital equity, which is actually the capital prop of the company, the capital brought in by the owners of the company, and then you have debts, right? Okay, companies will, you know, get a credit from the bank to finance. Okay, it's part of the capital, right? This is also very important for the next video I was talking about, for the video that I will publish later on, where I'm talking about the financial situation of a company. On the left part, you have the active side, which consists mostly on how the capital of the company has been invested. Okay, so you definitely see here capital assets, right? And then current assets, right? Current assets. Well, capital assets, these are assets that are meant to remain in the ownership of the company for about 5 years, something like that. For example, cars, buildings, land. And current assets, things that are regularly moving. For example, cash, bank, the amounts are always moving. You can have today in your bank account 100,000 euros, and maybe by the end of the month just 50,000 euros, simply because you bought raw materials, for your production and all that. So things that are meant to change within a short period of time. So when she created her company, she integrated her garage as a capital asset. Okay, so she had a garage here, 15,000 euros. Okay, that's what she did. Of course, she brought in also money. She has money cash in bank. So this will be added over here to define the capital of the company. At the start, she had 0 debts, okay? Because she even bought her garage without any loan from the bank or whatever. All right. The company started really small, but it has had the capability of generating a substantial amount of turnover. Right. Okay. So what happens is that 2 years after she created her company, the value of the garage was about 25,000 euros. Okay? 25,000 euros. So there's a possibility of making 10,000 euros profit here. Okay? So there's a difference between doing this transaction of selling, this property as an individual and selling this property as a company. And I will explain to you. The first difference consists in the fact that as a company, you can easily value the depreciation of your assets. Okay? This garage was a garage, I think if I remember, was built something in the 1970s. All right? So we're in 2022 today, so it's more than 50 years. But it's a garage, right? It's not an apartment. It's not something where they will tell you, okay, the kitchen is no more working well, the pipes are not working well, the toilet is no more that good. It's a garage. It's just a 12 square meter space where you can park a car in, and where she just dumps her stuff, and from there she delivers her products to the customers, right? So this garage we can do it for accountancy purposes. We can say, okay, this garage has a rest lifespan of about 10 years. Okay, so we will divide by doing linear depreciation. You're going to divide this amount by 10. So every year, Miss IN has every 10 years she can depreciate 1,500 euros, right? And this 1,500 euros, she can remove it from the profit her company is making. The company is making profit. That's why she created a company. She didn't create a company to sell apartments with it. She created a company to make money. So the company, makes 20,000 euros a year, right? So you can remove the 20,000 euros from this. And this is something that you can not easily do as an individual. As an individual, you would just be saying, okay, I have, I've sold 15,000. Okay, I gave out, I spent 15,000 euros to buy the apartment. After I'm waiting, when I have 2,500 euros, I'll be selling the apartment. Okay, but the point is, first of all, you cannot, in that time, you will not definitely benefit from the depreciation mechanism. Secondly, you cannot sell it after 3 years because she is trying to sell it 2 years after the creation of the company, 3 years after having bought the garage. Okay, so you, for example, in Germany, if you want to sell a real estate before 10 years, okay, you have to pay tax. If you want to sell it without paying tax, you have to wait 10 years. Okay, it's only after 10 years you can sell your real estate back. People are waiting for this 10 years period because if you have to be charged, you have to be taxed as an individual. In Germany, you pay between 45 to 50%, of your salary as tax every month. So if you have 10,000 euro profit here, to make a calculation very short, you're losing 5,000 euros, which is a good amount of money, right? Okay, so you can really go to Dubai with that amount of money. We don't want to lose it, right? So we are trying now to benefit from this strategy. So it means that the first 2 years, she was capable of reducing the amount of money she will be paying as tax, simply because she has an asset which is depreciating. All right? So meaning that even if you had some other businesses where you have no capital assets that are generating money, they are generating the same 20,000 euros. You're going to pay tax on 20,000 euros, but she's paying every year tax. If she makes every year 20,000 euros profit, she's going to pay tax on 18,500 euros. So she has less tax, she makes more money. Well, but that's not the most important part. The most important point here is to sell this, garage and use, that the profit and get the profit out of the business so that we can invest in other stuff. But how do we do that? It's not easy to, to remove money from a business for private use, because it's easy, but you're going to pay tax because the company can easily give you money. As a proprietor, you can take money from the company, but it's going to be considered as a personal income, and you're going to be taxed with 45 to 50%. All right. So what you do is very simple. You have to know that as a company, as small as this company is, she will be paying. Okay, she's making like 20,000 euros profit around every year. Okay, so she's going to pay 20% tax. 20%, right? Okay. She decides to sell this garage, and buys another garage, in the outskirts, because this garage was actually almost close to the center of the city. So she wants to go down to the outskirts. Just the garage to go to the outskirts. She's still renting her apartment today, and she bought an apartment for 10,000 euros, right? So she didn't only buy an apartment for 10,000 euros, she also had cash for 5,000 euros that she has here. Okay? 10, 5, 15,000 euros. We're just neglecting the fact that the garage has depreciated, because normally if the garage has depreciated after 2 years, there is a depreciation of 3,000 euros which she was capable of removing from her gross profit. So if you are selling your garage now for 25,000 euros, that means you are not only making a profit of 10,000 euros, you are making a profit of 25 minus 13,000, you are making a profit of 12,000 euros, and that's where the fisc is going to look at this amount. Okay, so let's just, for easy calculations, let's just imagine that the garage didn't lose so much value. Okay, so what she will do is try to sell it and get this 10,000 euros profit and remove it from her company. The selling of a capital asset has nothing to do with the regular profit a company makes, because she is selling makeup stuffs and all that. Women know it better than me. So um, that's where the company makes money from. So this extraordinary, profit that comes from selling part of the capital assets, it's still going to be combined with, with the other profit you make and be charged at 20%. Well, 20% of 10,000 euros, well, it's 2,000 euros. It's not a small amount of money, right? You can do something with it, right? Okay, especially as an investor, as an entrepreneur, you always know where to place that money, to multiply, right? So we want to avoid that. What we will do is that you have the second difference between you as an individual and a company is that when you sell as an individual, you sell this real estate, the fisc, the tax office knows that you've made a profit of 10,000 euros. No matter whether you have a job or you have no job, if you're selling, this, how do we call it? If you're selling this profit, if you're making 10,000 euros profit, you're going to pay tax, right? But for a company, the tax office looks at the general profit the company has made. So on one side, you might have made 10,000 euros profit here, but on the other side, you are making profit from what you sell regularly as products. But you can also make losses, right? But we're not trying to make here a fictive loss so as to cover up the income we've made here. What you're just simply going to do is that you can increase the cost of production of your company at least to an amount that will help you cover up the loss you will have had from the taxes you're going to pay here. So 20%, for example, of this 10,000 is 2,000 euros. So you can reduce, your profit, your gross profit here on this regular part by 2,000 euros, almost. Let me just give an example, okay? So let's say instead of the 20,000 euros profit you do regularly, normally, this year you just do, you do 15,000 euros, okay? So you have your costs, you had a substantial increase in your cost of production. So you see that instead of paying tax on 20,000 plus 10,000 euros, okay, which will be around, so 30,000, which will be around 6,000 euros that you're paying to the tax office. When you know that normally, if you didn't sell this garage, you would have simply paid 4,000 euros. So you're losing 2,000 euros here. But you see that if you increase, your cost of production and thereby reduce your profit, you're going to pay tax on 25,000 euros. So 15 plus 10,000 euros. So 20% on that is about 5,000 euros, right? So you are just losing 1,000 euro from here, because normally you'll be paying, on the 20,000 you'll be paying 4,000 euros. So you are losing 1,000 euro from this investment you've done, and that is a very important strategy because it allows you to easily make profit using your company. Because some people will say, yeah, I will want to wait for 10 years because in 10 years I will definitely have maybe, here I just have 10,000 euros profit. In 10 years I'll make 20,000 euros profit. Yes, that's true. But the thing is, for me, it's important for me to have this 10,000 euros today, than to wait in 10 years to have 20,000 euros. Because I have the 10,000 euros today, I can multiply by investing in other businesses and make in 10 years to come 25, 30, 40,000 euros. 25 is even too small. If I have 10,000 euros today, I just need about 6 to 7 years time to make out of those 10,000 euros about 100,000 euros. Okay? So this is where you start now to see the strategy that helps you multiply your money as fast as possible. So, this company has made a profit, okay? The profit still remains in the company, right? You've made 9,000 euros from selling, your product, okay? From selling your capital asset here, right? What you want to do is to get this money out, and invest in something that is going to give you much more money. You can decide to take it out and make a private investment, but you can also decide to leave it in your company and do and make an investment as a company that will help you generate more capital that you come and invest in your company back. All right, but most people will prefer to do it privately. Okay, because it's not always easy to get money out of your company. As easy as possible without paying a huge amount of tax. Okay, so what you can do here, like we said, you need to increase your cost of production in order to reduce your profit here, so that you can easily reduce the amount of tax you will pay on this real estate you've sold. So how do we do that? We simply increase cost by buying certain stuffs, and that's where we're now applying the magic I told you about. Fine art. You can decide as a company to buy expensive wines that you give at the end of the year to one of your very best customers. It's allowed. Okay, there is a company in Germany that produces huge battery storage systems, in terms of megawatts. 4 years ago, you couldn't see any employee in that company driving an electric car. First of all, the amount of electric cars 4 years ago was not that high on the market, but today it's very common. But you see companies not only buying electric cars, but they buy the most expensive electric cars for their salespeople. Okay, because we are producing a product which is sold to people who have solar parks, wind farm parks, and these are people who are only who have this renewable energy mindset. Okay, so you cannot go and sell a product to them and you're coming with a diesel car. It doesn't function. So the company invests a lot of money in buying good electric cars for their salespeople. So when they drive out and go to the clients feel that these are the same people. They can talk about certain things because they have the same mindset. They are looking forward in the same direction. All right. So you can do the same thing. You can decide to invest in wine, fine wine that you are going to you're not buying fine wine in the black market. You're buying fine wine from an enterprise who is active in that domain, and you're definitely going to have a bill that you can in case you can definitely show that as a proof of the cost you've had. Well, the trick here is that I'm buying it for clients, because if I have a client, if I make, for example, a turnover of about 60,000 euros or 70,000 euros, and I have one or two clients that make me 40,000 euros turnover, I definitely need to do certain things to keep them. So I can invest in wine. I can buy, I would definitely buy a bottle of wine for 50 euros for them, or buy expensive wine. But the point is, these clients actually don't exist. The client for this wine is me. I have, bills that my company bought wine, but they are my wines. Okay, because these are not wines for consumption. These are wines that are meant for investment. And that's how you take money out of your company and you put it into something that is going to multiply and multiply, and you create a system where after 2 or 3 years this wine has gained substantially in value, that you can money which you can take and invest back in your company to make it grow bigger, or create a second company, and so on and so forth, or go and invest in real estate again, and so on and so forth. Very important. I think you've understood the strategy here. Like I said, I'll be bringing out courses on how to invest in fine wine, and I have other experts who are working with me who can explain more and more this strategy for you to see how you can remove a huge amount of money from your company and invest into something that will definitely create a substantial amount of more money. Okay, so I think you've understood the system. You need to get a job, get savings. After having saved, you need to train yourself, because what I'm talking about here also is not about you coming to somebody and giving your money to invest in wine for you. You are going to do the investment yourself, but you need to know how to do it. You need to master how you do it, as well as you must have mastered your company. Because if you're making 20,000 euros gross profit in a company, that means you master the field you are in, especially if you are a small structure. So you need to know exactly what you're doing if you're investing in wine. You need to know exactly what you're doing if you're investing in real estate. So once you've saved money, you are definitely trading yourself, and you create companies. You can start with real estate. You must not necessarily start with real estate. You can do certain other things. You can create directly a company, especially if you were in a field or maybe you had made some research already even before you started studying, working when you were still a student. You had made some analysis on a particular market, and as soon as you have money, you can start investing there if you master that market well, if you've trained yourself very well. Okay, and later on I will talk to you about my company, because I've not only invested in fine wine, I've also invested in the wine industry, but also as a wine producer, and we're going to talk about that later on, right? So this is the strategy. So after you've done your investments, created your company, you now bring some of your assets into that company that you can sell easily. You don't necessarily have to wait for 10 years to come, or 15 years or whatever, because in Germany you have to wait 10 years time for 10 years to sell your real estate without having to pay any tax. In France, I think it's 20 to 30 years, which is a huge amount of time. Okay, so by integrating it into your company, you definitely have the possibility to bring it out and bring it back again without any loss. Like I said, without too much loss. Like I said, for example, this machine or this bulb where you bring in 100 watt of energy, you only have 80 watt produced, 20 watt goes the losses, so you have to use the 20 watts to bring back to the system. That is what creation of wealth is about. Most rich people, they don't spend money from the profit their company makes. No, the company makes profit and is reinvested in other companies, or is reinvested in the company back. What they make money from is what the advantages, the fact of owning an enterprise can make you. You can sell, for example, assets that you have in the company and easily make money out of it. And that's why you will see them spending a lot of money. They will spend a bottle of 5,000, 6,000 euros on a bottle of wine. Why? Because they have the money. Okay? And it's because by spending the 6,000 euros, the world is not falling down. London Bridge is not falling down. So the machine is turning and it's generating more and more money. That is what it's all about. So before you start, living, the life of a king or whatever, make sure you have a solid foundation. And solid foundation consists namely in, putting in place this strategy. I hope you've loved the video. Please share, like, and comment so that we can know if you are interested in such videos. We can work on, bringing out more and more such videos in the nearest future. I know it took you some time to listen to me, and if you're still listening to me right now, that means this is a very important strategy for you, and I'll be really and happy to help you to get into the in-depth of this strategy so that you can easily apply it as soon as possible. Well, later we're going to introduce coachings, online or presential form, depending on where you live, where we will in 30 to 45 minute sessions discuss with you and go into details of these strategies and a lot of other strategies that we'll definitely not share here for free, so that you can easily implement them and start making your money as fast as possible. Okay? Well, I give you, rendezvous in our next video. Stay blessed. Ciao.